Okay, hello everyone. I just finished up my part 3 for the day, or we'll call it Animal Project Day 3. You've got an animal group you're looking at, right? You picked that on Tuesday now. I think I wrote Wednesday. I don't even know what day it is, but I think I'm close. So you picked it 2 days ago, right? You're going to be continuing that today. You've got to find 5 words of interest, basically 5 vocab terms related to your group. Okay, probably words you learned. You're going to look up a specific animal and describe 2 adaptations it has. And then I want you to find 3 interesting facts, 1 fact per animal. So you're going to look up some specific animals in your group, do a little reading about them, and I don't think it will take you long to find an interesting fact about each one. So what I did is I skipped this part, okay? I did this part as I did the other 2 parts. So I looked up an animal and its adaptations, and then I looked up other specific animals. And as I was reading about these 2 parts, I found vocab terms that I could use for this part. Okay, so you're going to be doing this all in one big chunk today. I was jumping around a lot when I did mine. Remember, I was working on annelids here. Okay, yesterday we did the defining characteristics. I did the 3 major groups, showed you a picture. Okay, and from yesterday I got this Parapodia, which I found this word I think on Wikipedia. I saw it and didn't know what it meant. So it actually helps them move. They look like little legs, right? And it helps them breathe. Notice I wrote this part in my own words. I read about it and tried to summarize what it means in a simple way. So it actually, the upper part helps them breathe. You can see here in the lower part, more like legs helps them move around. Oops, let's put that back. There we go. Okay. The next thing I did, I'm going to be jumping around, okay? So the first thing I did was look for an animal with adaptations, and I started to do a leech, and I couldn't find info on it, so I looked up something else. And the earthworm, again, you probably recognize it, really common around here, most well-known annelid, so lots of ideas for the earthworm. I actually found a video on it, and it had a ton of adaptations, so I just took screenshots from the video for my pictures. So the first picture was a screenshot about its setae. It's actually pronounced. The video taught me that, so I didn't know that. The setae are smaller on the earthworm, so it can move through the soil, and it helps grip. So I put that as an adaptation. And then it also has these special muscles that contract, and I actually took screenshots. You could see the circular muscles help it get longer, so as it contracts those, whoop, it gets longer. And then the front part would grip, and then the longitudinal muscles, which run this way, pull it forward, so it inches forward like a inchworm, right? And those were my 2 adaptations for earthworms, and then I started to look up some interesting facts. So I saw yesterday there was a medicinal leech, so I read that it's used to treat wounds. You can put it on an area around a wound, right, which is a cut or a sore of some kind, and it can help the blood flow. And then I found this word anticoagulant. So I went back up and I said, great, there's my second word of interest, anticoagulant. I did a quick Google search, read a little bit about it. There's a protein called hirudin, and it actually prevents blood from clotting, which means it's going to flow, so the leech can eat your blood, right? It's a parasite. And then I looked up, I didn't know where to go from there, so I looked up other common annelids, and I found the lugworm. And I read about its burrow, and I thought this is interesting, how it leaves these little poop sand piles behind. and it lives in this burrow, so it eats sand this way, and then it poops it out this way and leaves behind this. So if you ever see this on the beach, you know that there is a worm, a lugworm, or a sandworm burrowed underneath that. So you might see this at low tide. And now you know. And that was my third word of interest. Okay, I saw the word cast, and I'd never heard it before. So the castings, you could see I used that picture again. That's fine. And I defined it. I said it looks like a pile of poop, and I said they swallow sand and deposit it over here. So I did put a little different information than I did for my interesting fact. Great. And then for each one, I know there's a picture of it here, but I asked you to show a picture, right, of the animal in your interesting fact. So here's the animal. Notice I gave you its scientific name and its common name. I did that for the lugworm too, right? And then I figured I'd show you a picture of it. Here you go. Lovely. And then, okay, good interesting fact, or the biggest or the largest, right? So I found the largest annelids, and they actually both live in the same place in Borneo, and it's called the Kinabalu giant earthworm. There's its common name, scientific name, and I gave you a bonus one, the giant red leech, and there's its scientific name as well. They can both be quite large, 70 centimeters, so it's about the length of your arm. You can see there's the red leech, pretty big, and there's the giant earthworm, even bigger, lovely. And interestingly enough, the earthworm is prey of the leech, so the leech will attack the earthworm. And this cool, you could find all sorts of these cool photos, so I thought that was interesting as well. I still needed 2 more words, so I just did some Googling of the different groups, and the polychaetes can glow, which means that they produce luminescence. That means they make light in the dark. So I thought that was cool. And then I read about the annelid anatomy and found this hydrostatic skeleton. So we have this hard endoskeleton. Insects might have an exoskeleton, which is a hard outer layer, but annelids have pretty much a water skeleton. It's like a balloon filled with water. Again, here's my description that shows I really understand this, and I put it in a simple way. So all these words were in my own words. Based on what I read, I summarized it, and I made sure to put it in my own words, okay? So let's go back to that rubric. Did I do everything? I found 5 words of interest. Okay, they're new words I come across. Oops. You can't use a word that's the name of an animal group, so let me explain that. So yesterday I found class. Here's a group, right? So this couldn't be a word of interest because my definition would just be a group of annelids. So I wanted a more specific word there. So these, right, this would not be a good word to define. This would not be a good word to define. So I wanted a different kind of words there, and I did that. Each word was in my own words, great, and each word has a picture, so awesome I did that. I would get my full 10 points there. I looked up a specific animal. What do I have to do? It has 2 sentences that describe how it works. Copied definitions receive no credit, so they're in my own words. Just double check that. Definitely has 2 sentences there. Definitely has 2 sentences there, and even more bonus sentences. Great. So I know I'm good for full credit here as well. I even I accompanied each one by a picture. I have multiple pictures. Awesome. And make an intro slide that shows the animal and its common scientific name. Did I do that? Yep. And then last, look up 3 interesting facts. Write 1 interesting fact about each animal. And it could be any of these, right? 3 points per interesting fact. Hopefully you guys teach me something new here. I definitely learned something new about these annelids. Again, I think you're going to have an easier time with your animal group too, and you can find tons of interesting facts about these guys. One reason I didn't put annelids on there is they're a little simpler, and less known, so I gave you guys some more common, more well-known groups. Okay, show a picture of each animal, write the name, the scientific and common name. So if I go through the adaptations, I gave you their common name and scientific name. I showed you a picture of them, and I explained the interesting fact in my own words. So that would be a done deal for today. Awesome. So hope this helps, guys. And let me know what you think. And make sure you get those submitted. And we'll start working on our file next week. It's going to be a project, so that's coming up. And hope you guys have a good day.